Hello, Lash bosses. It's Sophia. My every Monday Lash talk. I'm gonna interview Tammy. Tammy is here. Hi, Tammy. I'm gonna add you. Hola. Hi, everyone. Hi, Tammy. So
Hi,
good to
Sophia.
see
Can you hear
you.
me?
Yes, I
I'm
hear you
trying to play around with the
perfectly.
lighting.
Can you hear me? We're good.
We're good. I can hear you.
Perfect. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Let me get comfortable. I have all my
Almost
cushions.
alone.
You look so beautiful. I love the red
Thank
lipstick.
you. You too. I
Thank you.
heard
Thanks so
that
much.
you guys are not allowed to open yet, right?
It was big news for Toronto and the region of Peel today. They announced that we can move into stage 2.
Yeah.
However, anything that has to do with the faces, anything that has to do with the face is on the restricted list. So unfortunately, eyelash extensions, facials, makeup, like eyebrow waxing, permanent makeup, microblading, anything that has to do with the face is on the restricted list, unfortunately. So it was big news for Mississauga and Brampton and Toronto today. But unfortunately, our clients have to be a little bit more patient, a
Yeah.
little bit longer.
Yeah. And do you know, did they give you any, let's say, pre-day for the phase 3? Maybe you guys gonna be in phase 3?
Well, they wouldn't give a date, and you'll often hear when any of the public officials are talking that they don't know, and the
Yeah.
consensus is that nobody really knows. But if you read up on what is available on the government website, and also listen to some of the public health officials like Dr. Williams or whatnot, they always talk about how there's ideally a month between the different stages. And that
Oh,
is because with a staggered approach like this, they can measure and monitor and adjust. Like if they open stage 1 and that causes a huge spike in cases,
yeah.
then they can't move forward with stage 2 until that's under control, right? So considering that Toronto, Mississauga, like the Peel region, which consists of Mississauga and Brampton, just announced that on this Wednesday upcoming, that we can move to stage 2. They need time to monitor whether going to stage 2 in these regions is the right move.
Wow. So it's gonna be a month from now.
Yes, I would definitely say that it's a very cautious approach compared to other cities or other regions. But I also understand that Ontario was a lot of the cases that were, it was from Ontario, right? So from Canada, I mean. So I do understand why they are taking such a very cautious approach.
Mm. Thank you, everyone who's joining in.
Yay, we see a lot of people joining. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
I have Teresa, Lauren, Julie that I
I
know.
saw Lily. I see Tiffany. I saw
So thank
Matt.
you so much for like joining me tonight. And the moment you say yes, I'm really excited because I have witnessed how hard you put your effort, your work, and your investment, not just time, but also your financial. Like you put everything in the last career, and I think you will be a very good inspiration for many people who just started or who's new or who struggle a little bit in this industry. So, and Tammy is always my inspiration when I hear her talk. Like, my eyes just open and just listen to her talking. So, like, I hope that she's gonna inspire you guys tonight. Tammy, so tell us what you did before last career and why did you start?
So before we get started, I want to say thank you, Sophia, for inviting me because, you know, I'm so excited to talk to you tonight and to have everybody join us tonight. I never like think of myself as an inspiration. I mean, I always look to other mompreneurs as my inspiration, as like same thing with you. I know how hard you work. You know, our history, we go way back. We know each other from previous endeavors. And I just know that like, a mompreneur or like entrepreneurs, female women entrepreneurs, we just are a different breed. Like we know that there are things we need to do and things that need to get done, and we just do it. You know, I don't think of myself as like special or anything. I just think in terms of like focusing on what I need, figuring out what I need to do, and then I focus and I do it.
Yay.
So and sorry, to answer your question, how did I get started?
And I feel like we have to work double because we are the one who has to take care of the family, the kids, and we have to work hard on the career that we chosen, right? Yes. What did you do before Lash Extensions?
Yes. So before I was a lash artist, I was a general manager for a Canadian fashion retailer. The company is now bankrupt, but a lot of people in the Canadian fashion industry know about Jacob. The clothing store was named Jacob. And so I was the general manager of one of their biggest grossing stores, the Bloor Street location. And that's at Yonge and Bloor, and it's across from Port Renfrew. It's a multi-banner, multi-level store. So you're managing like 3 stores in one. That's what they call a triple banner. It was the final pit stop in terms of where all the managers want to end up, because it's your final stop before you become a district manager, right? So that was my goal, and that was where I was heading. And I was the girl that, you know, you could count on to do what it takes. Like I just stayed and did the work and did what I needed. But that job it's grueling, and it has a shelf life because you're expected to work evenings, weekends, holidays. It's a tough career, you know, but I love fashion. I've always been in like fashion, beauty. My interest has always been in like beauty inside out, even wellness. Like I've always just been obsessed with beauty and fashion. So for me, it was like, I just kept getting promoted. So it was a logical career for me. But the life-changing event was I got pregnant, right? And it made me realize that that career no longer served my purpose. Like it no longer fit my life because it's not conducive to having a family. And my heart goes out to people who are in retail, because I'm like, you know, I've been there, done that. I know what it feels like. And when you're younger, when you can work any hours and whatnot, it's okay. But
once you have
a kid and you start having a family, it really makes you think about like, okay, I've invested so many years of my life into this company, and is this really going to get me to where I want to be? And the answer was no. Like I wanted to be with my daughter, and I started a family not to like work all the time and not be with her. So that was really the point where it was changing for me. I had to change careers. So after I had my baby, they wanted me to come back, because I was also promoted to be the trainer in my district. So I trained all of the managers that came through the company, as well as the customer service associates. And the reason for that is that they felt that Tammy is the gold standard, and wherever she goes, sales skyrocket. So if we can have that consistency across the board, and she's the same person that trains everybody, all these managers then go back into their stores, and it's the same consistency in terms of like the customer service and the sales results. So they begged me to come back, and of course it was a really hard decision, but you know, a hard decision, but not a hard decision, because I took one look into my baby girl's eyes and I was like, it's a no-brainer. I will always choose her, and it was time for me to move on. And at the time, I was always doing makeup on the side. I had a side hustle. I'm sure you know a lot of mompreneurs who are in the beauty business, right? And because I am an internationally certified makeup artist, so I enjoyed doing makeup. I wasn't I'm not a hairstylist, but I was into the updos because a lot of times brides do request hair and makeup.
Yes.
And so that was the point where I decided to go full time with my makeup business and do it like, and just become an entrepreneur, start my own business. And with lashes was like my side hustle. It was not even like the main thing.
Is it because
someone had applied
the demand in your bridal career with the makeup and hair, and then you saw the demand of lash extension? That's why you added that?
Yes. So somebody had applied as lash extensions on me. I'd always heard that, oh my gosh, don't get them. They damage your lashes. And, you know, like there's so many like myths about it, right? And I was so scared, and I was like, no, I'm going to do it, because my whole life, that is my pain point. Like being an Asian girl, I don't know if you have good, actually, I think you do. I lashed you. You have great, you lucky gal. You have great lashes. But generally, Asian lashes are very fine. They grow down and straight. So any kind of mascara will not do. I have purchased literally thousands of dollars from your drugstore name brand mascara all the way to like the designer, and it does not matter. After I put the mascara on, my lashes would go like, it
Honestly,
was like such a letdown.
I know I have a lot of lashes, and my lashes are thick, but they are all going down.
Because they're poker straight. They're just, they grow downwards, and it's like against gravity to actually curl up like this. So when I had my first experience with lash extensions, it was absolutely life-changing. It was a huge, you know, a solution in terms of like beauty treatments for me. And I was addicted, I was hooked. So of course I continued to be a client and continue to get them. And this was way before volume. This was just like, you know, 0.25s, 0.30s. I was like, the bigger, the better. Like, you know, the longer. This was like 6 years ago, right? So a really, really long time ago. And she kept saying, you know, you ask a lot of questions about lash extensions. You know, why don't you get certified? Because you do makeup, you can offer it as a package deal for your added on as a service for your bridal clients. So that's how I got started. It was so, like, I didn't really give it a second thought. I was like, I love to learn anyway. Why not add an extra, you know, skill to my resume? And so I took my first course. And the rest, they say, is history, right?
When was that? Like, what year do you remember?
2014.
Okay.
2014. So it's been 6 years.
Like, you fell in love with it? You started doing it?
No. So the first 2 years, okay, the first year it was like, I did not take it seriously. It was just like, you know, how you just lash your family and friends, you don't take it seriously. And anything in life, I would say, if you don't take it seriously, you're not going to succeed at, right? You can't expect to give like 1% effort and get like 100% result. That just is not the way life works. And so my first year was like a wash. I don't even like count it as anything serious, right? It wasn't until volume came around. So volume came and I just fell in love. Like volume, I know, was created in Russia. Thank you to the Russians, who are like geniuses of, you know, deciding I'm going to put multiples on like one eyelash. But I can honestly say, and I say this all the time, it's not just a marketing, you know, thing that I say, that volume lashes was made for Asian girls, you know, like Asian girls like me who lack, you know, that density. And so when volume, when it's properly applied and it's beautiful and customized to, you know, that person's natural lash health of what they can handle, it's absolutely beautiful. And it gives us, it's so lightweight, it looks so natural when done properly. It can look as dramatic or as natural as you want, but the point is, it's healthy. You can create that fullness, that density in a very, very healthy way. And being an Asian girl who has struggled my whole life with lashes, it just opened my eyes up, like physically, literally, and spiritually, and everything. I just fell in love with it. And volume was, I would say, the beginning of my career. Wow. I was like, what is volume? I need to travel to Russia, which I never did, still on my bucket list. But I'm like, I need to learn from like Russian masters. I was like obsessed, and that's kind of mega volume equals life. Right. That's right, Tim. Mega volume equals life. So true. Mega volumes and a whole other story.
Yeah. So, and I know that you've been like taking a lot of trainings, the good one, with like top masters. Can you tell us a little bit like who you took the course with and why, and what do you think between the masters? Like, I know you told me like they're not any bad. I would say we don't compare like anyone is better than anyone, because each of them has their own method, right? Can you share with us a little bit more detail about the classes that you took?
Sure. So I consider myself a student for life. Like, I love to learn. I'm inherently a nerd. I'm a huge geek. Like, I love to read, you know, that people ask me like,
the shows.
I'm so boring. My life is so boring. There's nothing that makes me happier than staying home and reading. I know I'm very outgoing, and I love, like, I'm a people person, but I'm actually sometimes really an introvert. You know, I just want to be quiet and read and like learn and go into like my mind and my shell and just like vegetate or meditate or whatever. So for me, I always knew that if I wanted to do anything, I wanted to be excellent at it. I didn't want to be mediocre. If I'm going to take on a task, if I'm going to take on a skill, I don't, the world has enough mediocre talent. So I knew that, like, I really wanted to master. If I love something, I'm going to master it. And so 6 years ago, 2014, like, we're going back, I would never say that my beginner training was bad. I know a lot of lash techs and a lot of lash artists say that, oh, I had such bad training, and you hear that in the forums, and my training was so bad. I will never say that my training was bad. My beginner training was very basic, but because back then there was not a lot of information available. Yes. So, you know, sometimes it's so quick to blame the trainer. I just don't like to play the blame game. I always like to think, what can I learn from this person? You know, and so because I go in with that mindset, I always learn something from somebody. And I never hesitated to take a course if I felt like I vibed with the instructor, the trainer, because people buy you, right? Like they go and train with you because they like you as a person and what you represent. So for me, I would do my research. And at the time, like I said, my first master trainer would be like Frankie Widows. Frankie Widows really inspired me as a beginner lash artist.
Me too. When I searched about Russian volume, she was the one who popped up, and she gave so much knowledge on her YouTube channel, and I was like, wow, right, it is saying the truth, and she's just amazing.
She is amazing. And I saw that she was coming to Canada, so I trained with her when the one and only time that she came to Toronto, like 6 years ago or 5 years ago. And I took her mega volume. Oh my God, I took her mega volume and I almost died. It took me the whole day to make one perfect mega volume bag. She looks at my work, she's like, that is the perfect mega volume bag. I was like, that only took me the whole 8 hours to make. The rest were garbage. No, I'm just kidding. She really opened my eyes in terms of like just all the technical aspects of lashing that as a beginner you have no clue, like how adhesives work, humidity and temperature in your environment, and how to adjust and how to troubleshoot and what to do if this happens and what to do if that happens. I just like was taught how to lash. Here are all the you know, tools you need to lash. This is how, you know, you apply the tape, and after you, and so my first set, like, I didn't know and understand why the glue was, like, the adhesive was not sticking, you know, and probably if I had some knowledge about humidity, I could have adjusted my
Yes.
room, the parameters in my room. So because I didn't know that, I really struggled in the beginning. So I would say Frankie Widows really helped me in the beginning as a lash artist. And then okay, won't bore you guys all with like my whole rundown. Let's just say I took a total of like 12 lash related courses. So like, you know, 10 like lash courses and then another 2 for like lash educator. So I still feel like, and you know, I credit Frankie with this because in her class she said that she takes 2 courses a year to keep her mind fresh. Wow. And that's, and like I said, the first year I trained was with her, and so that really stuck with me. I was like, if I want to be great like her, I need to, you know, to be willing to do what she's willing to do, which is if she says she's going to take 2 courses, maybe I need to like really invest in myself. And so I never saw that I spent all this, I never looked at it like I spent all this money. I looked at it as an investment in my career, because you go to university and you spend $40,000-$50,000 on an education with no guarantee that you're going to get the job or the dream job that you want or whatnot. You invest. You just invest hoping that it's going to get your career to the next level. So I knew that, well, there isn't a lash university, so I'm going to create my own. I'm going to like research the courses and the trainers that I vibe with. And I would honestly say that every single one of them, there was something I got from them. Right. And that helped me move the needle forward in terms of my career, and made a difference. And because I always said a little prayer to God every time I went into each course, please God, open my mind so that I receive the information that you want me to receive, whatever I'm meant to learn. Because think about it, a course is so jam-packed. In 2 days, you know, you can't absorb everything. You're trying to process, and you're also trying to like master this new technique. It's a lot of information overload. So you need to like direct your mind to like absorb what you need to absorb, you know, because we all learn differently, right? So I always said a little prayer. I'm like, thank you for taking care of me, and you know, putting in the knowledge that I'm supposed to learn. And for me, the course that really made like a switch for me, like between like, should I really like continue with this? I'm not really making any money. Is this really a career? I think I want to give up. Maybe lashing's not for me. You know, I didn't understand why like all the lashes I would do, the clients would complain and the retention was horrible, and I had to fix. Like, you know, that's what I call the beginner phase. Everybody has to go through the beginner phase. And that's why it's so important in the beginning to take the right step in terms of your education, research your course director, you know, your trainer, and don't just choose by the cheapest course. You know, like the old adage, you get what you pay for. It is so true for a reason. You know, if this is your career, you don't hesitate to spend $50,000 on a university career. You really should research your education and make sure that you choose the right educator, because it does affect the trajectory of your career. And for me, the course that was, I would say, changed my career was hands down the Duo Lash Makers and Maven Artistry one. They only did it that one time. And Elena and Trina, Lash Makers, Elena, Trina from Maven. Everybody knows them. I do not need to give an introduction. They decided to combine and do a duo training, and they came to Toronto, and I was like, sign me up. You know, these two ladies are just like, you know, lash queens, right? So for me, you know, Elena, her technique, her skills, her business, marketing, her personality. I mean, I just love her, and I mean, I affectionately call her Ma. Like she knows. She's changed my lash game, right? And also Maven changed my my lash game in terms of like my Instagram and my marketing, and like you kind of can see if you I leave a lot of like my old posts because I feel like I want to honor my progression, because that's where I started. Sorry if I hear my daughter out there. I don't know if you're hearing. That's her outside the door. Daddy's supposed to be watching her right now. Yeah, that was our agreement. Only he's gonna like watch her while I do this. While mommy has work time. For me, like Megan really changed the way I saw myself, like in social media and in terms of my branding, like what, who I wanted to be and what I wanted to communicate to the world, via my social media. Like, and for me, like I didn't know anything about Instagram. Like her Instagram program is amazing. Like she just really was the catalyst for the transformation in my Instagram. If you scroll back far enough, like
you'll see
it's pretty ugly. Or I wouldn't say ugly. It was just, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just putting content out there. And then you kind of see, like, all of a sudden, it starts to transform and change, right? So that's really, like, I would say that she helped me to do that. Like, she really helped open my mind up to how I can be, like, creative and that there was another aspect, not just lashing and the business and whatnot, but like the marketing branding aspect of it. And after that class, I think I was like, this was like do or die. So I said, this is a lot of money. It was a lot of money in my books. So, you know, maybe it's not a lot of money in someone else's books, but it was a huge investment. And it was my last, like, if this course doesn't, you know, change my career in the lash game, I quit. Like I literally had that, like, maybe it's not for me. Not that I quit, but like that it's not for me and it was time to move on.
And I don't know if you agree, like even the courses you took with the master, and then if you don't apply or if you don't practice, you're not gonna be like as successful as you want to be, right? Some people, they think like the training, they look at that master work and they think after the training they're gonna be doing exactly the same sets, but little that they know, in the class they're gonna be struggle. The set that they do in class will not be the same as what they thought, right? And it's gonna take time to practice the new technique that they learned from that master, and it's gonna take time to be like that master.
You're absolutely right, Sophia. Like you hit the nail on the head. The biggest misconception and the biggest thing that, you know, students tell me when they come for training is like, oh my God, it's harder than it looks. It's so much harder than it looks. Lashing is not easy, y'all. Okay, I know, like I'm trying to like explain to people, like if it was easy, everybody would do it. You're using, you know, very sharp instruments. It's micro movements. You need like razor sharp focus and like a good eyesight. There's so many things that go into creating an amazing set, and a lot of it is very technical and a lot can go wrong, and sometimes a lot does go wrong, right? So when you look at a master's work, or you take a master's class, a master trainer's class, and you think, oh, I'm gonna walk out of there and like banging out sets like this, it's not realistic. It's the equivalent of saying, oh, I'm gonna take one, you know, karate class and now I'm a black belt. It's just again, it doesn't work that way. You know, life, they say it takes 10,000 hours to become a master, like 10,000 hours at something, whichever topic you're doing. It takes 10,000 hours to master that topic. So one class, that's what, 2 days, 16 hours is what you're going to learn is the technique, like you said, and then you have to go home and practice that technique. Maybe it won't take you 10,000 hours because all of you are smarter than me. I'm not that smart. That's why it takes me so long.
It's not about smart or not. I think like it's just like the way we learn are different, and the way we control our hands are different. You are more like a brain lady. That's why maybe it's not as fast as other people who's very good with the hands, because you were born as a brain lady girl. That's
Yeah.
why.
Possibly, yeah. I love theory and, you know, studying theory.
And you're still taking classes like every year, right?
So I haven't, obviously this year, COVID year,
Yes.
I have not taken any classes this year, but true to my commitment to myself and in my ongoing learning, last year I took 2 courses. The first one was in January, so I kind of like to space them out a little bit. January, I took the Asian eyelid lifting, which you've seen some of my work on my Instagram, where it can create a what we call a double fold, a double eyelid with monolids. And even if someone doesn't have a monolid and they just want more lifted lashes, because let's say they have droopy eyes, or like there's a lot of skin here that like folds over, which can, you know, make somebody look sad, right? So if you can lift that lid area, this is what I call very precious real estate, it really opens up the eyes. So I made a decision that I wanted to specialize in Asian lashes, because again, I wanted to bring the happiness and the joy to all my Asian ladies that, you know, that suffered, like, you know, went through what I went through. And I wanted to specialize in Asian lashes. So I thought this was like perfect for me. And, you know, when I saw it, I was just so fascinated by it, because I was like, what is the sorcery? Like, this technique, you can truly create it with just eyelash extensions?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. And then the second course I took was Revelation in June of last year. And again, that was absolutely amazing. Alona is amazing. I mean, her work speaks for itself. And as a trainer, she's amazing. Like, I love the course too.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. I was interested in her class too. Like, one day if she comes to Montreal, I'm gonna take her class.
Take it.
And so how did you start your teaching career, and like what inspired you to start teaching?
So I really enjoyed being a trainer in my previous career. It was an aspect of the job that I actually really loved. And I think I did miss my calling. Like, I think if I could choose all over again, I probably would have chosen a profession in teaching, because I love to teach and I love to train. I love to share my knowledge. And I feel that you have the ability to create such an impact in the world with your training and with your education. Like, you know, in anything in life, you'll have fantastic teachers, and there will be the teachers that are there, you know, just to, you know, put in the hours and get paid. And, you know, in any profession, you'll have people who truly care, who teach from the heart. And for me, I take it very seriously. I knew that I had struggled so much as a lash artist and as a beginner, and also, you know, from the lack of like training programs in the beginning of my career. I knew I wanted to create programs that, you know, I didn't have. Like, I was like, if I could go back in time and wave a magic wand and be the trainer and provide the training and create a course for my students that I would have wanted in 2014. You know, I go back and I literally think of like literally everything. I want to cover everything so that I empower my students to know how to troubleshoot and know what to do when this happens and that happens, when you have that knowledge. Because a lot of times, you know, people think taking a course with a master trainer or a big name trainer, like it's like taking a magic pill, you know, and then you're going to lose 20 pounds. It doesn't work that way. Oh, no. Right? The work is you. Like, if you succeed, that's on you. If you don't succeed, that's also on you. Taking the course is great, but you still have to go back home and do the work. And unfortunately, after the course ends, the trainer is not holding your hand and, you know, can't go back to your lash studio and tell you how to set up everything so that it's perfection to help you lash like all. But if you have that knowledge, if I've given you the skills so that when you go back into your lash studio, you know what to do. If things go wrong in an appointment, you also know how to troubleshoot. These are the things that like I focus on in my training, so that one of the things I always felt like it wasn't enough whenever I took a training. I always had that hunger. I don't know, maybe it's just my personality. That could totally be a Tammy thing. Like, I just always felt like it wasn't enough. And so I always try to make my courses enough. Like, I don't want a student walking away feeling like I want more. Like, maybe they want more because I just want to hang out with them and, you know, lash talk for another 3 days. But like, in terms of knowledge, they have enough for them at that stage. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to take classic and be a beginner, you only need this much. Don't overwhelm yourself with like advanced volume knowledge and, you know, mega volume. Like, that's crazy that someone would learn classic, volume, and mega in the same class. It's like, to me, that's crazy, because it's like saying,
same with me.
It's like saying, I'm going to teach you how to run a marathon when you don't even know how to like crawl and walk yet. First, you need to crawl, then you need to learn to walk, then you can run, and maybe you can do a marathon, right? So to me, mega volume is a marathon. You know, there's no way I would teach a beginner that, because I want to set my students up to succeed. I don't want to set them up to fail.
Yeah. Because I do have students asking for the same training. Let's say add one more day to teach them volume. They learn, but then they're gonna go home practice classic, and then that volume knowledge they're gonna put aside, and then when they're ready, they're gonna use it. For me, I don't want them to be overwhelmed with too much knowledge. Even just 2 days of classes with me, like, there's so much knowledge. I don't know how. I don't think they're gonna take 100% of that knowledge, and now add one more day for volume. I don't think so.
And volume is so much more than just technique, right? Yeah. So people think like, why do you need like another 2 days? Because you're teaching advanced knowledge that you wouldn't be teaching in classics, or at least you shouldn't be teaching in classics. Not because I want to withhold information from you or make more money from you by making you. It's not even that. It's like, I want you to succeed. You have to master the basics before you can move on to like advanced techniques and advanced information concepts, right?
Because I find if we can take 100% knowledge, we will not be here doing lashes. We will be already a doctor or something, right? In that field. But because we are people who very learning from visual, and we need to practice, and we don't learn as by the book like other professional. That's why I believe like we don't want to pour too much knowledge that like they stop and they cannot take anymore.
That's right.
Right. And then we're gonna just focus on what's the most important for the first class, and then the second one, when they come back, we do volume and we give them more knowledge. So how many classes do you have?
So I have 2-day courses as well as 1-day courses. So in the 2-day courses, I have the classic, the volume, and the mega volume. So classic is for somebody who's a beginner, somebody looking to enter the lash industry, or somebody who, let's say they had a beginner training and it wasn't sufficient. They felt like they wanted to get retrained. Sometimes that happens, right? Unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So I always welcome people to take, my students to take my 2 days. And then my 2-day volume is what I call beginner volume. Mm-hmm. So I do teach the technique of volume, but I don't get into all the really super technical aspects of volume lashing. Just because I feel like volume is so hard. It's so hard to master. We need to give it the time and space, because once you master that, then the sky's the limit, you know, then it becomes fun, and you can play, and like you need to learn the rules before you break the rules, you know, like because you can't, because otherwise you're doing damaging lashes, and that's, you're killing your industry and you're killing your business if you're going to do damaging lashes, because eventually you'll have no more customers with lashes to come back to you for.
Exactly.
And then so my mega volume 2-day course is like what I call my mastery course. That's where I delve deep into like the calculations of how to do the mega volume safely, how to apply it. The application of mega volume is very different from like basic beginner volume. And also mega volume is about perfection, because to me, if you're going to take mega volume, that means you've mastered, you know how to make a fan. Exactly. I'm not teaching you how to make a fan. I'm going to teach you how to perfect those fans to make them super, super sexy. And then your clients are going to be addicted to you, and they will come back and get those mega volume sets forever, because no one can create that but you. You know, you that's how you build that like solid client base. But there's also like the business mastery aspect of the mega volume course that I also really focus on, like building your business so that it's sustainable. It's sustainable, and how do you build it in terms of like a career, not just like I'm a lash tech, you know, what else do you do? Like what else about the lashing do you do? It's your customer service, it's your marketing, it's your branding, it's your, you know, business building, it's your clientele management. There's so many aspects of your business, like managing your business so that you're like a profitable, registered, legal business. Like so many aspects of it that you absolutely need to know in order to succeed. And then my 1-day courses are what I call upgrade. They are refreshers. I offer them in classic, volume, and mega. That's if you feel like you've taken a previous course and you just either need like a technique upgrade, like you want to know how my technique, or you need help with your business, because it's a 1-day course. I cannot mathematically jam 2 days worth of information into a 1-day course. So in the 2-day courses, we can do technique and business, right? But in a 1-day course, you kind of have to pick and choose which one do you want to focus on. And that's what I'm going to help you solve in terms of what issues, what are your pain points in your business. Let me help you like get through this so that you can go to the next level. And then finally, I have I have a double course. Like if somebody is already trained in classic, but they want to do a classic volume combined course, that one you get 2 certificates. And then finally, I have an online mentoring course. That one you don't get a certificate, but it really is like either half day, 3 hours, or 6 hours, full day, where someone can have like an online coaching session with me. And again, we go through whatever it is that you need me to help you solve, because there are so many aspects that of the business that you don't get to learn in a 2-day class. And also in terms of your career, we grow, we transition. The questions that you have a year, 2 years, 5 years, I still have questions. I mean, you know, I never want to stop learning. The day I stop learning is the day that I'm dead. You know, I really feel like you're either learning or you're dying, right? It's one or the other. And so later on, when you transition into like more advanced aspects of your career, you need somebody to help you sort of like get through certain things, or you're unsure, or some aspect of your business that, you know, is not, no matter what you're doing, you just don't seem to be getting the results. Well, sometimes someone else with a fresh perspective can come in and see your business with a fresh pair of eyes and say, you know, based on what you're telling me, I think that you're saying your biggest challenge is this, you know, and let's work together, brainstorm and work together and come up with an action plan to help you, you know, solve whatever challenges it is that you're going through.
Sometimes I feel like maybe there's one knot that you just need that right master, that right educator to untie that knot, and then you're good to go, right?
That's right.
And I wanted to talk a little bit, just a bit fast about pricing before we go into your eyelash extension line.
Mm-hmm.
Pricing. What do you think? Um, should people charge more? Should people charge less? And
Pricing is such a hot topic, right? Like, yeah, pricing is such a hot topic. Now, I believe that eyelash extensions are a luxury service.
Yeah.
I do. That's what I do. I choose to invest in like luxury products in everything from my customer service to my branding to the products that like everything that I use and do is premium service. So to me, luxury lashes, they're now mainstream. You know, we have to understand the history of eyelash extensions. Long time ago, it only was available to like celebrities and like, you know, the housewives of California or whatever. Like, you know, yeah. It was available for actors and actresses and models and dancers and just people who just couldn't have mascara running down their cheeks, you know? So it was really an elite service, but the challenge now is that the world is changing and lashes are now mainstream. So I've never seen an industry where like you've got like the spectrum of lashes, the cheap, dirt cheap lashes to like, you know, somebody charging like $5,000. Madonna, I heard that's what she paid for her lashes or whatever, her first sale. Of course, we're not serving Madonna, but it's pricing is such a gray area, like in terms of like what is the right price to charge. What I coach my students on are like, you know, you have to charge based on what is profitable for you. You've got to know your numbers. You got to know what your expenses are, because if you calculate and crunch the numbers and you're not making money or you're making minimum wage, you're better off getting a job that has benefits, you know, that can sustain you, because making no money in a business is not sustainable. You don't have a business, you have a hobby.
Mm-hmm. And also, we need to have enough money to live on and to put aside so that we can learn more technique. We can bring better products to serve the clients. Mm-hmm. So if someone charges so cheap, she can only live on and she doesn't have extra for her, you know, education or to get better products.
Right.
So I hope the clients understand that.
And lashing is hard. Like I said, you know, you're really like micro focus. It's hard on your eyesight. It's hard on your neck. Physically, it's hard on you. You're in the beginning, your hands are cramping because you're building that muscle memory. Like now, my hands don't cramp. These old babies are, you know, been doing it for many years now. But in the beginning, your hands are cramping. It's very tough physically on you. Of course, you need to take lots of breaks, but our customers, our clients, they need to understand like it's not easy to lash. So you need to charge what you're worth. You really, really do. And so I'm not gonna shame bargain basement pricing lashes, but think about it in terms of like a mathematical calculation. If you're charging dirt cheap lashes, you're just gonna have to do people back to back. You have to be fully booked, like from morning to night, working 14-hour days. And guess what? Quality's gonna go, health and safety is gonna go, cleanliness is gonna go. Like people need to really like remember you get what you pay for. If something is so affordable, at what cost is it so affordable? Because I would absolutely pay more to know that I'm going to a place that's clean. This person is properly trained. This person is not damaging my barely there Asian lashes. Like I don't have any lash. I cannot risk, you know, having one lash damaged. So, you know, I would absolutely pay, you know, premium pricing for premium service.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. So now let's talk about your line.
Yes.
How did you decide to have your own line? And and what products do you have right now in your line?
So I struggled a lot in the beginning. A lot, you know, I don't, you know, hide that aspect. I never said like I'm the best lash artist, you know, in the world. You know, I know that I want to be excellent at what I did, but I didn't understand why I struggled so much. And it wasn't until I became like more of an intermediate lash artist that I understood the products have such a significance on your application, the adhesive you use, the lashes you use, even with volume, like the sticky strip in terms of the volume lashes, they need to be sticky enough so that it holds the lashes when you fan them, but it can't be so sticky that you're fighting with the sticky strip to like remove, because then it kills the fan, the perfect fan that you created. And also, most importantly, I think it's because we lash in Canada. So Canada is a 4-season country, and winter can be like, oh, -1 outside, or all the way to -32 outside. Like that's still winter. So I think like the environment that we're lashing in, like it is so hard to lash here in North America, specifically Canada, or like from where we're from, where we have like the driest, coldest winters. And adhesives, they back then they were such divas, you know, they misbehaved, they were just they were not great. Now there's lots of adhesives that are really great on the market that's available, but back then I just had struggled so much with my products, and as a beginner I thought, okay, let me just like buy the cheapest, because then I can make the most money. And you know, like you go through that, and then you soon realize if you buy the cheapest products, they don't produce the best results, and it's like a pain in the butt to work with them. And then I was like, I'm gonna buy the most expensive, and I'm gonna source from like England and like all these other different places, and what ends up happening is like I was buying from multiple lines because I just couldn't find one that I settled with and that I was 100% happy with. So what I ended up doing was buying a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I was spending so much money trying to curate my own perfect line. And when I started training, it got even worse, because then I was buying all these kits for my students, and the cost of it was just surmounting. And that was really like my aha moment. I was like, instead of trying to curate this collection, I just needed to, I had so much knowledge and I have so much love. And again, my background in retail and whatnot, it just made a lot of sense for me to invest in the product myself and work with manufacturers. And I'm so particular about what I like and the reasons why I want it to be that way. I'm like, the glue has to be like this. Like, I drive my manufacturers crazy because I'm like, you need to adjust this, but I don't like this about it. You need to adjust. They're like, why? What's wrong with it? I'm like, because it doesn't work in Canada. Like, you're from here and we're from here. You needed to make it like this so that when it drops to like -32, it's still gonna work. You know, things like that. So for me, that was why I wanted to start my own line. I wanted to help lash artists in North America just be able to order products and know that these products are just going to work. You don't need to worry that they're going to work. They're going to work, so that you can focus on your job and do what you do best. Like, to me, lashes is a creative outlet. It's very creative for me. Like, just like makeup artistry and, you know, whatnot. It's a creative outlet for me. So you can't be creative if you're fighting with your glue. You can't be creative if your tweezers are giving your hand cramp. You can't be creative if you can't make a volume band because it's stuck to the sticky strip, you know? So these are all these tiny little problems that I try to solve for lash artists, so that, you know, when they come to my line, they know that they can order something that, you know, it's just going to work, that they can depend on. Like your best girlfriend, you know, you can always call them up and be like, I need you.
Yeah. I think we cover almost everything. I wanted to ask you more about how you balance your family, but we have only 6 minutes. I don't think we have enough time. It's been amazing. let's end the talk with the most important tips and tricks you want to give to new artists.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I would say that be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. First and foremost, take care of yourself and be kind for yourself. Because in the beginning, I was so obsessed with like, I'm so slow. Why am I so slow? And I would, feel bad or berate myself because I was so slow. And and we have to understand the journey that we're on. Like when you're a beginner lash artist versus an intermediate versus like an advanced lash artist, we always talk about the beginner phase. I love to talk about the beginner phase because that's when it's painful and you gotta push past the beginner phase to grow. Mm-hmm. But while you're in that phase, or even at different aspects of your career, you still need to be kind and respect the journey that you're on. Like instead of comparing yourself, your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20, that's not fair, right? It's not fair to yourself. I want you to like be kind to yourself and just wherever you are in your lash journey, in your career, just honor it, respect yourself, and love yourself. And then I would say invest in the right training. I mean, really, there's so many great trainers out there now. There's so many good available training programs out there now. It wasn't like how, years before when we started, right? So do your research and don't go for the cheapest training, because believe in yourself. Like if you don't believe in yourself, who will? You've got to believe in yourself. Like if you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. I believe in you. So at least there's one person out there that believes in you. You have to start to believe in yourself before you can make anything happen. And you've got to do that internal work. A lot of times we focus on like the skills and all the things that we do out here, but you really have to work on yourself and do the internal work and take courses. And it doesn't have to be lash related, personal development courses or anything to improve yourself. And the most important thing is your mindset. You really have to protect your mind, because you can't let outside negative forces or toxic people or toxic, because every day we're bombarded with so much negativity, and even your own brain, it gravitates towards negative first. Like you actually have to consciously make it positive. So every day I want you to consciously choose to be positive. And there are people out there and courses out there that can, work with you and help you with that. And if you can't afford to take a course, then I would say buy a book, because it's cheaper than taking a course. And if you can't afford to buy a book, go to the library where books are free. But you absolutely need to protect your mindset, because if you want to be successful, when you look at other successful people, you study their success habits, they always continuously work on themselves harder than anything else.
Thank you so much. Amazing, Tammy.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for inviting me. It was so much fun.
Yes, thank you. And thank everyone for joining us today. And I hope that, I think some of your friends say amen.
Hi, Katrina.
Very true. Yeah. I hope everyone enjoyed your evening. And Tammy, we keep in touch. Thanks so much again. It was amazing to see you and have listened to what you share. Love you.
I love you too. I wish we could have like 5 more days. We could like geek out on lashes.
Yes.
You can tell we like have a passion for it. Right?
Oh, we live nearby,
like,
so we can
5 more days on this
every day.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you everyone for joining and listening.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
Thank you everyone.
Bye.
Bye.